I actually have a special prayer tonight that was written by Mr. John Pucci. I wanted to share in our community today. This is in honor of Pearl Harbor. Heavenly Father, we gather today among our families in remembrance. We remember the resolve and courage of our nation that stood and fought for its cherished values. Bless us, O Lord, as we humble ourselves in thy presence, to remember our shipmates and friends who are on eternal patrol, the ones who served and the ones who are currently serving our country so valiantly. May those brave souls who still remain with us today feel your hand of favor and strength. This day of reflection is a time to look back in history, to recount their sacrifice for the causes of freedom. Give us, O thy great Jehovah's, guidance to have faith in your blessings. Grant us peace and wisdom. May we all honor veterans who so nobly serve and bring glory to your name. Amen. Amen. I'd actually like to ask if we could have a moment of silence for all of our soldiers who are willing to give their lives on that day, on that attack. Thank you.
Thank you, Vincent. Thank you, John, for that prayer. To advise, the meeting notices covering this meeting have been sent and posted as required under the Open Public Meetings Act. Council had an executive session that started at 5 o'clock, and as we always do, our solicitor will comment on the topics that were discussed in executive session.
In executive session, the mayor and city council received a report from the manager in regard to ongoing contract negotiations between the municipality and the white-collar workers, the Teamsters, the lifeguards, the PBA, and the dispatchers. This simply was an update that these matters are ongoing. Additional information will be made available as these negotiations proceed. In regard to certain contract matters, the manager reported that the ACUA budget has been reviewed and its impact upon costs associated with trash removal have been analyzed, and that review concludes that there will be no increases in the near future for charges to the municipality. A discussion took place in regard to property acquisition. Specifically, the municipality currently maintains a vacant property registry, which has been created in coordination with the county. Tonight's discussion related to the abandoned properties statute and the remedies available to municipalities under that statute. Council has directed the manager in my office to further review the abandoned properties statute with an eye towards possibly bringing on a consultant and otherwise formalizing an abandoned properties program. Additional information will be made available in this matter as we go forward. It is anticipated that a report will result in the next 30 days. In regard to personnel matters, the manager advised that in the construction office that Maria Marmorato is retiring. The manager advised that Ryan Hurst will be appointed to that position. In regard to shared services, the manager has indicated that there's been communication with Atlantic City in regard to sharing certain services with Atlantic City, including elevator inspectors and vehicle maintenance. The manager will review this matter further and provide additional information to the council. Under litigation, 4 separate matters were discussed. The city currently has a special foreclosure counsel who is pursuing an individual foreclosure. Council was advised that that matter is going forward and a foreclosure complaint has been filed. In regard to other litigation matters, council discussed Vincent versus Brigantine. My office and the manager provided an update. That matter is currently in litigation, and it's anticipated that the parties will file answers within the next 15 days. Another litigation matter is Malone versus Brigantine. My office advised that particular piece of litigation is in motion practice at this time. The parties have filed cross-summary judgment motions, which are returnable in Superior Court in early January. Additional information will be made available following those motions. Council also took the time to review a previous piece of litigation that was settled, that being Macnow versus Brigantine. Council discussed that settlement and certain public improvements that were running parallel to that. The administrator advised that a certain stormwater project, which has been funded by the state, is currently in the permitting process, and that piece of infrastructure work will go forward upon receipt of the appropriate permit. A land sale was also discussed. The manager reported that the land sale to Atlantic Electric went to closing some days before Thanksgiving. That matter is now closed, and the municipality has been compensated in accordance with the contracts for the sale of that property. The council also discussed other land-related matters, specifically the management of Walker restrictions. Historically, the city has been called upon to release those restrictions and has done so at other times. Council is currently discussing the issue of how those restrictions can be appraised and whether an appraisal process should be utilized going forward or whether a flat fee should be established for the lifting of such restrictions. Additional information will be made available in that regard as council concludes that discussion in the near future. I think that's it, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Cerny. Next, we move to the approval of the council meeting minutes of 11/2/16. We have a motion and a second, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussions? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
Pugh,
Yes.
McClay,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Next, we move to the approval of payroll requisition list and operating expenses. Do we have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
I have a question about one item on there. It was for an elevator. It was over $5,000 for the rowing club. Is that a repair of an elevator? Is that an installation of an elevator?
It's a significant repair of the elevator.
Okay. I didn't know there was an elevator there. Thanks.
Okay, any further questions? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
Pugh,
Yes.
McClay,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Abstain on 2650, yes to the balance.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Abstain on 2535, 2550, 2657, yes to everything.
what was the last one? I'm sorry, 2567?
2657.
2657. Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, at this time, I'll open the meeting for public comment on agenda items only. If anyone would like to address council on any of the items that are listed on our agenda, please step forward, use the microphone, and state your name and address for the record. Yes, Mrs. Phillips.
Ann H. Phillips, 308 27th Street. The next item on the agenda, tax assessor notification policy. What is the current policy and why is it being changed? When you get to that, I'd appreciate
Thank you.
some discussion. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, seeing none, could we have, at this time, I'm going to do the resolution 2016-18, which is the tax assessor notification policy. Can we have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Roxanne, I don't know if you or Ed want to talk about the policy we're presently using, or?
Currently, our policy was unwritten, where the discussion would take place between the assessor, myself, and the auditor as far as appeals and the magnitude of. If you remember, a couple of months ago, we had our best practices list, and sure enough, item number 3 addressed this policy and whether the municipality had the policy. So I believe the Assessors Association came through with a recommendation that everybody, adopt a written policy about letting the CFO know and the city know of tax appeals. So that's really basically all it is.
Okay. That's by June 1st.
Yes.
I just have a follow-up question. And thank you, Roxanne, for referencing the best practices worksheet, which is where I had first seen it, too. Two questions, not specific to the new policy. The 4 other items out of the 30 where, on the best practices worksheet, where we didn't already have compliance, is there anything in the works on any of those?
There's nothing specifically in the works. I mean, Ed and I will address them as we continue to go. But what I think you have to remember is you're never sure what these questions are. Not that you shouldn't be looking into them, and not that you shouldn't be looking for improvements, because you should. But every year, it's a guesstimate. But some of the questions that we could not answer, I believe, dealt with some union issues, personnel issues. So it's a little...
Yeah, the ones that were out were, one of them had to do with outside employment policy, and the other
Right.
3 all touched on policies against accrual of sick leave.
Right.
Okay. And my other question is, do we have a registry or a compilation of some kind of our current city policies? Like when this is reduced to a written policy, will this be, where would I go to find this?
That's a very good question. Other than the employee handbook, I wouldn't believe that there is a accumulation of documentation, which is not a good thing. It should become something we get to, but
Okay.
we're not there yet.
So, at the moment, at least, if I had a question about whether we have a policy on a particular subject, we don't really have a place a definite place we go to find the answer to that.
Other than our handbook, that is correct.
Yeah. Are policies all put into the handbook, or just to the extent that they found their way into the handbook?
The policies that are adopted that relate to employee hiring, that relate to employees, that's in our handbook. But something along this line, we don't have one yet. And then that's something Roxanne and I have talked about, is kind of going through our records and starting to find a home for this type of policy.
Okay, thanks.
So League of Municipalities have a model policy manual?
We can ask. I'm not sure.
Okay. Any other questions? Could we have roll call, please?
View,
Yes.
McLeay,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther.
I just want to clarify that most of the actions you take, though, are by statute. So
That is true.
it's...
That is really true. I mean, we're definitely, monitored by statute for sure. But there are some things internally. I don't really know why there was probably something that came up from somebody,
Right.
from a municipality, who knew what drove that question. We have, like I said, we have our internal processes that we talk about things, we, instruct each other, keep each other updated, but they always get you, do you have it written down?
Sure.
When it's not so,
Which I think is a good idea. It
it's
just has to-
absolutely a good
cleaned
idea.
up, Right,
It's absolutely a good idea. I mean, even your operating procedures,
absolutely. Which they have in each of the departments. Okay, yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Resolution 2016-219 is award of contract for the Incident Command Vehicle. This is a resolution to purchase one new four-wheel drive Chevy Tahoe Fire Command Vehicle from approved state contract vendor. We have a motion and a second, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Bless you.
Pleasure.
Ed, do you want to comment? First of all, you get very good pricing on automobiles.
Another one of the co-ops. Mayor.
Yes.
This is something that Acting Chief Platt recommended last year that we put into place, and that is an incident command vehicle that allows the officer in charge of our platoon to respond in a vehicle to a fire incident mainly quickly in advance of the fire engine being deployed, so he can evaluate the situation and make decisions in terms of the deployment of the equipment prior to the equipment arriving. So we thought it was a good idea. I think if you would like to add, but my understanding is so far it has worked out very well.
Thank you, Ed. So basically what we do now is, and this practice changed under Chief Widener, and we have the captain or the officer in charge responds ahead, gets there quicker, is able to size up the situation and position equipment a lot faster. It's the common running procedure for departments all over the country. It's just something that we never really took that step to. And we had the conversation earlier in the year, and we decided to take that step. The vehicle they're currently using is about 12 years old. It's becoming unreliable a little bit, and we needed to upgrade that vehicle for them to have a more reliable vehicle for emergency use. So, and this was through state contract, and it is a good price. And I actually reached out through the HGAC co-op, and the state contract price actually beat that by a little bit too. So,
Great.
Tiger, as you guys go out, as if either you or one of your captains go out to a scene, will, any call that comes in, it's usually an accident, like we had an accident the other day, and do you go out and assess the situation before calling in any overtime or anything like that, just to minimize overtime if we don't need it? Sometimes you go to a fire call and
Sure.
it's
well, one of the benefits of having the vehicle and just the officer in charge getting in it and being out the door quicker than a fire truck who has
Right.
multiple people who have to get dressed and geared up and get into that truck. I mean, there are situations where that vehicle arrives on a scene and they realize it is a false alarm, and they can send apparatus back to the station before it even arrives at the call. So it is a benefit, because obviously a Chevy Tahoe moves through the city in the summer a lot quicker than a fire truck will.
Sure.
So yeah, that could potentially, help
Be a
out
benefit
with,
for that.
and be a benefit, absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Seems like, too, it would add maybe a little bit of safety for your guys, because now you have somebody going out assessing the situation before they show up, and they're not like hot in the moment making a decision.
Yeah, and keep in mind that, the engine is still responding. When
Right.
we get a call, whether it's a wire down or something like that, I mean, we're still sending the apparatus that are required to respond for that type of incident.
Yeah.
But again, one of the great benefits is, say it is a wire down or a low hanging wire, and then the incident commander shows up and says, yeah, it's low hanging, but it's not a danger. It's a cable wire, notify Comcast, and, we can clear up and before the engine even arrives. So, it keeps the guys, ready to respond to other calls and be able to free them up. Yeah, absolutely.
If you're notifying Comcast, they might be there in a couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks probably, yeah.
That might go over time. Or
We have a
Verizon.
pretty good track record with them.
Okay.
One quick question. The funds to pay for this four-wheel drive Tahoe, is that coming out of fire other expenses? I noticed that we have a transfer tonight.
It's coming out of fire capital equipment?
Yeah, no, it's coming out of operations. It's out of operations.
Oh, any? Okay, is that what we're approving tonight, the $35,000 to move from salaries and wages to OE?
Yeah.
Okay. I figured it was close.
Yeah.
It must have been.
We're always neck and neck.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions? Seeing none, could we have roll call, please?
View,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, Resolution 2016-220 is award of contract for a pickup truck, and this is a resolution to award the purchase of a 2017 Ford F-250 four-wheel drive pickup truck and attachments from approved state contract vendor. We have a motion and a second, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any discussion? This is for Public Works, there's no discussion. John, I know your trucks you're constantly upgrading them.
1988.
We're replacing a 1990.
Okay.
So is that 1990 then going to the Beach Patrol?
If they're lucky.
Repurpose.
Okay, any further questions? Seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
View,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, Resolution 2016-221 is award of contract for stone, gravel, and infield mix, and this is authorizing the award of contract to Hanson Aggregates BMC, Inc. for stone, gravel, and infield mix. We have a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
View,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Resolution 2016-222 is award of contract for the rental of high-volume pumps. And this is authorizing participation as well in the Houston Galveston Area Council of Governments National Cooperative Purchasing Program for the contract for high-volume pump rentals with Xylem Dewatering Solutions. We have a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Ed, where are the high-volume pumps going?
These are pumps we place, right now we put at our areas where we see significant flooding that we do not have in-ground pump stations or our flood busters deployed. So one would be out on East Shore Drive, one is generally at the Lighthouse Circle. The Lighthouse Circle, as you know, is one of the locations for our 3 pump stations that we're soon to go out to bid for, that we received the $1.4 million grant. But right now, this would give us the ability to rent the same pumps as needed when we know we have storms and potential flooding in areas that we don't have a way to really evacuate that water.
Is this something that could be used down around the flooding around Coquille Beach?
So it's something John and I have talked about. The issue with Coquille Beach is the discharge is, I forget now, about 1,500 feet away.
Yeah.
And we can't rent or deploy 1,500 foot of discharge hose. So it's something John and I have talked about putting at the outfall,
Yeah.
which is over on Lagoon Boulevard, which should help move that water, but it's never as good as if we can put the pump station at the area where it's flooding, right?
Mhm.
So it is something that we're looking at doing to hopefully help relieve that flooding on Coquille and Harbor Beach.
Hopefully, Ed, when we get closer to the summertime, maybe we could have a meeting with the people from Coquille Beach, even if it's at a council meeting, to explain what's going on and what the difficulty is with us moving that water at this present time, and tell them what the solution is and the dollar amounts, so they completely understand what's going on. So maybe
I'd be
we'll
happy to do that.
Okay, thank you.
On these, when we rent one of these, how quickly can we get them? If we have a storm coming, sometimes you don't know, the tide's going to be really high for 24 hours or so.
How long does it take to get me a pump?
Yeah.
4 or 5 hours?
Oh, okay.
Take them out of the can.
All right,
They're pretty good with us.
good.
And it's mainly when we know it and
Mhm.
can plan for it.
Storm's
So
coming.
if we know we have a storm pending that's going to have threatening tides.
Full moon tide.
Correct, we will
Mhm.
do it. It isn't if we get a flash rainstorm.
no.
Right.
Nothing
It
worse
wouldn't
on
be
that.
for that type
Right.
of situation.
John may remember the first time we had to do this, and Jim as well. It was, I believe it was 1992 3 maybe, when we couldn't get the water out of the golf course. So they actually were. 92, yeah. Yeah.
Perfect storm.
Okay, can we have roll call, please?
View,
Sorry, yes.
McLean.
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, Resolution 2016-223, authorizing participation in New Jersey Safe and Secure Communities Program. Resolution approving participation with the State of New Jersey in a Safe and Secure Communities Program administered by the Division of Criminal Justice, Department of Law and Safety. And this is we're applying for a grant of $30,000, a local match of $44,047. Can I have a motion and second, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Chief, you want to talk about the Safe and Secure Program?
Thank you, Mayor. It is a partial salary reimbursement grant. With the amount of officers we have, we're authorized $30,000, and as long as we apply for it, we'll get it. Helps offset the cost of our newest officer.
Great, thank you, Chief. Okay, any discussion? Okay, seeing none, can we have roll call, please?
View,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Resolution 2016-224, the 2016 budget appropriation transfer. And whereas New Jersey statutes provides for the appropriation transfers during the last 2 months of the fiscal year, when it has been determined that it is necessary to expend for any of the purposes specified in the budget an amount in excess of the sum appropriated therefore, and when it has been further determined that there is an excess in any appropriation over and above the amount deemed to be necessary to fulfill the purpose of such appropriation. And we are transferring a total amount of $160,000 between accounts. Can we have a motion and a second, please? $160,500 between accounts.
So moved.
Or second.
Don't move me short.
I know Roxanne keeps it tight, so.
Yeah, and, you know, some of it's general housekeeping, you know, budgets are hit or miss, and some of it is if we have some funds that are available for much-needed equipment and larger purchases, and it's year-end, and we feel that we have the money, then we're transferring to be able to purchase that equipment.
Makes sense.
The other thing I want to recognize too is that some of this you're transferring from salary and wage accounts, which is a good sign. You know, it's a positive sign that if you're transferring from those accounts that we're able to manage that portion of it.
Absolutely.
Roxanne, I was curious, I know you can transfer in the last 2 months. Can you transfer as many times as you
Yeah,
need to? or-
you can transfer the last 2 months of the year, any meeting that you have, and then you can also do transfers in the reserves in the next 3 months of next year.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, can we have roll call?
View,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, Resolution 2016-225, Chapter 159 Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant.
Mayor, if I could just, the title should be State Body Armor Replacement Fund. I apologize, we got our,
Yeah,
everything else is the same, but
this
I
was
just
a
titled
mess.
it wrong.
Okay, State Armor Replacement Fund.
That's correct.
Okay,
State Body Armor Replacement.
okay. We have a motion and a second, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just so I'm clear, really, the acronym for this is BARF?
Yeah, it gets confusing between the two. We have a federal and we have a state grant. This happens to be the state grant, and somehow, some way, they got interchanged this time.
Okay. Okay, could we have roll call?
View,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, move the Resolution 2016-226, the real estate tax overpayment refunds. Could we have a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, can we have roll call?
View,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
And Resolution 2016-227, the Brigantine CER overpayment refunds. Do we have a motion and a second, please?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, could we have roll call, please?
View,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
We move to our consent agenda. We have the Riptide Fall Striper Bluefish Derby extension request and the Brigantine Elks raffle license number 2428. Could we have a motion and a second, please?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Could we have roll call?
View,
Yes.
McLean,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
Yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, with the end of our resolutions, now we move to the council manager committee discussion. Ed?
Thank you, Mayor. 3 items for tonight's discussion. First is, we received good news from the DCA. If you remember, council authorized an application for a non-federal cost share grant to reimburse the 10% eligible costs related to Sandy. So it amounts to about $250,000, and we have been approved to receive that grant. So
Fantastic.
it's good news.
Great.
Second, an update, the department head budget meeting is scheduled for December 19th at 1 p.m. in this room. That is the time when department heads will come and publicly present their budget request for 2017. Roxanne and I have met with all departments, reviewed their budgets with them, and this will be the formal presentation.
They don't need anything, do they?
Nothing.
Okay.
And then finally, for
So you-
discussion and hopefully council's guidance, we are into December, about to go to the new year. We have talked during this year about the possibility of requiring beach badges at the Cove and at the Jetty Beach. We talked in the past about certain complaints that we've received and certain concerns regarding those 2 areas, and the concept that possibly requiring beach badges, creating more of a presence down there. We started, you may recall, with a lifeguard presence as a response team down at the Cove area. This would be the next step. Fred reminds me just the other day that we have an ordinance that establishes where beach badges are required. So for tonight, just to discuss if council is still leaning towards implementing that for the 2017 season, where we would require beach badges. It will require an ordinance. I'd like that direction from council tonight, which then I can work with Fred. We can prepare that ordinance and have it for council to consider in January. Remember, the CER office will be beginning to sell 4-wheel drive passes. Actually, right now, or next week, we start selling gift certificates, and then in January, we actually start selling the passes and the beach badges, and so we would like to at least put up a sign and make people aware that they're going to be required for the 17 season.
I understand the cost and reason for doing it, but I know one of the complaints is people pay a lot of money for the 4x4 permits, so now you're going to cause them to pay another fee on top of it. Is there a way that maybe we could include maybe 2 adult beach badges with that permit to try to offset that?
I think we would need some authorization from council, but I think we can. The one thing that this summer will Public Works, John Doring and I are working towards putting in there's a new system for the 4-wheel drive permits. They're going to actually have a barcode. It's still a sticker, but instead of being on your rear view mirror, it'll be on your passenger side windshield. And the checkers will have a scanner that will actually scan that barcode, and it'll come up on a screen the vehicle that is registered to that 4-wheel drive pass. It'll also create a data set real time. We'll know how many vehicles are down there at any, or at least have entered the beach at any given time, at any day. We'll know how many veterans have gone down there, how many seniors have gone down there, how many regular. So with that, we're going to have the data that we need to kind of really get into the numbers and make determinations on fees. I'm sure we can include 2 adult badges with it, again, with council's authorization. I'm sure we can do that. And
I think, first of all, the data is extremely important to have. So, and it clears up some of those other issues that may or may not be real, that the tag is on the vehicle where it belongs, and that it is being utilized properly. And then we have some information we can use in the following year to make some decisions. I think it's an excellent idea to do the 2 badges with the purchase of the 4-wheel drive, so that people are making an investment in the 4-wheel drive pass, and we're not actually charging them additional because it is being included. So it's giving them a bonus in the first year. So as we're implementing this, it makes sense that they're paying a premium, obviously, for the 4-wheel drive pass, so to give them 2 adult tags. And the other issue we see, and we know because we see all the parking on Lagoon Boulevard, that people are getting into vehicles and they're either walking onto the beach or they're being driven down to the beach area. So it makes sense. We are providing more service down there, and there will be a stronger presence down there next year, both lifeguard and police.
Well, I would like to see, because me and Chief Bennett met with the homeowners down there, where people actually are walking through the house, side of the houses, getting into changing the diapers of the babies, and what they're actually doing is getting picked up down there, and they're leaving their car in front of these people's houses, especially, I think we talked about a driveway ordinance where the car can only be so close to the driveway, and we have to investigate that too. The other thing I would like to see is either a special or a Class 1 instead of, and no offense about our checkers, but when there's a police presence when they drive down there, it might cut down on the alcohol consumption as they see a police officer there and says, hey, maybe we shouldn't have this last drink down there. And I'm not encouraging anybody to drink down there, and I don't even think it's allowed to be drinking down there. But I think a police officer doing the scanning, a Class 1 or a special or something like that, will deter people going down there and picking up people, and now they have to have beach tags. So maybe they'll move on to our other beaches and spread out the crowds a little bit. That's what I hope to see.
I can work with the chief on that.
Yeah, especially because, especially the 4th Ward people, if you want to call them that, are getting the brunt of this. So we could spread out the crowds throughout Brigantine, that would be great.
So try to capture the revenue with the
Yeah.
sales. They make wonderful holiday gifts, the 4-wheel drive permits. So we would not be able to get an ordinance, obviously, in place. So if there's a consensus from council, could we do something by resolution?
Sure. Well, the ordinance would dictate where the badges are required. That's really not going to be an issue until we get towards the warm weather. Council's decision tonight would be to include the 2 complimentary badges
Yes.
with the 4x4 permit. And I don't think we need an ordinance for that. We can do that by a sense of council. May very well be at some point when we get into the amending the fee ordinance or something like that, a provision will find its way into that. But I think you can accomplish what you're discussing tonight with a voice vote for now. I'll memorialize it in a written resolution as to what it is that council is intending with a voice vote. But then the ordinance would certainly be in effect well before the first day that somebody's going to walk on that beach and need a beach badge.
Thank you, Fred. If there's any other discussion on this concerning,
Well, and since we're on the topic of beach badges and 4-wheel drive permits, I've had some constituents in my ward since this summer and recently bring up to me. Although I'm glad what we did with the veterans, giving the free four-wheel drive passes, and I think we may have discussed this in a few meetings back, the numbers and how many veterans were actually down there, congestion, that sort of thing. It actually was brought up to me from a couple of our veterans who live here in Brigantine and use the beach regularly, that they thought there was a lot more congestion, and they asked if we'd be willing to take another look at it and reconsider maybe even some kind of fee where it limits, just like we do with the 65 and over, where they get a break, but they're still paying, I believe it's half, 80. So I don't know if there's any truth to these numbers and if there's congestion down there, and whether or not all the passes we gave, if there was an influx of veterans and people on the beach. But it was actually veterans who brought it to my attention who live here, and I told them that I would bring it up. So I don't know if that's being that January's around the corner, and that if it's if we feel fit to add a fee as opposed to free passes, if that limits the congestion or not. And I know it's not something that everybody wants to hear it right now, but I told them I would bring it up. And they'd be willing to come here and discuss it also.
I think Chief Bennett has some information on that.
Thank you, Mayor. To direct answer, we did a survey at the end of the summer, and we were averaging less than 10% of the vehicles per day were veterans permits. So if we had 300 vehicles on the COVID in a given day, less than 30 of them were veterans vehicles. The congestion, according to Julie Emig and to the permit checkers, has been non-existent. Maybe at the jetty where things are typically busier, but the Cove area has been well under 10% all summer long.
So as of right now, we don't see congestion from those
No.
free passes? Okay.
No, if anything, it's the exact opposite. John can testify that with the lack of rain we had this summer, the Cove in particular, while the far end had a lot of traffic, closer towards the jetty area, the sand was so horrible, there were less vehicles down there.
Sure, yep.
Well, once again, the data will be very important to collect next summer, and you'll know exactly who is using, and, you know, it's important data for a lot of reasons.
For the future.
For the future. So, I would not be in favor of changing anything. I think this is a very positive thing for veterans, and we need data to see if in fact this is causing an issue, which, I think we have some data, and anecdotally, we also know, we're hearing that it's not, it's pretty much the same group of people who are always down there.
Gotcha.
I think the maximum number, if I remember correctly, was about 56 total veteran vehicles between both the Cove and the jetty. That was the highest number, I believe, but we're still working. We're going to put that information together. Remember, that's done by a clicker. So
Right.
this year, we're going to get
Good.
better information, and we'll just start building our data set so we can make good, informed decisions.
The other thing we don't know is how many, we know there were many, because we did the refunds here at City Council, how many veterans were down there, but they bought passes before, and they would have been down there anyway. So
Right.
we need to, just get some more information, but, I'm speaking for myself. I'm very proud of the program that we have.
Ed, my question is, you're going to scan every vehicle, so someone will be there
That's correct.
scanning every vehicle as they
Yeah,
come,
during working hours.
as they go on
Somebody-
the beach, right?
Somebody goes
Not
down at
exiting
6
the beach,
a.m.
Going on the beach.
I'm sorry?
Going on to the beach.
That's correct. Going on.
So someone will be there. When you sell the 4x4 permits or issue 4x4 permits, then if they're senior citizens, you're going to give them 2 senior citizen tags, or are you going to give them 2 regular tags, or are you going to differentiate
So
on what
I
tags?
I was not going to differentiate, only because if it's a senior who's getting the senior 4x4, but may be married to somebody who is not a senior eligible.
Mhm.
So
So 2 regular
I'm
passes.
just going to look at 2 adult badges, and we'll see how we do in terms of,
And then, can they then come and get their senior regular beach tags, as if, aside from the 2 that come complimentary with the
it's-
permit?
It's a very good question.
So they would end up with an extra
It's
tag?
a
I
good
was just
question.
wondering.
So, I don't, it's council's, I would I haven't thought of that.
You
So-
could track it as you sell the
Oh, no,
4x4
absolutely.
and say, hey, you got your free one, you know, you can't come back
That's
next
correct.
month
We
and get
can
another
do
free
that.
one.
Yep, we can do
But
that.
there's probably a way to track it.
Oh, the new system is going to be all electronic, so we absolutely can track that, and that can be one of the controls we put in.
Uh-huh.
So if a senior purchases a four-wheel drive pass, and we give them 2 adult passes, then that counts as their free senior pass, beach badge. So we can put that control in so that they can't come back. So yes, it's a good point.
And another thing, is there going to be someone there at the entrance? Say, for instance, someone comes with a truck and they've got 6 people. Are you going to be selling day passes for the passengers
That is-
in the vehicle?
that
How
is
will that
the-
work?
Yes, so the person doing the scanning will be a beach badge inspector that will sell beach badges.
Day
So that is correct.
passes, or whatever.
Yeah, beach badge inspector, so whether they want to buy day, week, or a season.
And our checkers take credit card?
We are actually exploring
We're
an
working.
app,
Square Up is free.
so we're
Yeah,
exploring,
just the
we're
scanner's
exploring an
free.
app a mobile app for the purchase of.
Well, there
beach
is a
badges.
mobile app, you don't need a scanner,
Oh, okay.
but
So, We're looking into that.
Just, since we are on the four-wheel drive, the only other thing that's come up to me, and it's even before I was on council, 3 years, the idea that we have 1 pass per vehicle, obviously. I know it's come up, and I'd like to put on record where people have asked me, is it possible where 1 pass, even if it's a duplicate pass, but it's for the same person who might have 2 vehicles registered in their name? In other words, if there's somebody who has a vehicle and that vehicle is broken down and they want to take their other vehicle down, is there a way where if the vehicles are registered, 2 vehicles, let's say, to the same person, they can use one or the other? Where we put a limit like 2 vehicles if they're both registered on that pass? As
No.
opposed to buying 2 passes, which everybody has to do here, especially if they live locally
Correct.
and are
So
locals.
no. Now, if I purchase a pass and sell my vehicle mid-year and purchase a new one, I believe there is a process to change that over. But no, if I have 2 four-wheel drive vehicles that I may choose to take onto the beach at any time during the season, I have to buy 2 badges. The scanner will identify.
Right.
This badge will be for a red Ford pickup.
Sure.
And that's it.
Well, I guess
And that
even
will be
before the
stopped.
scanning process, I guess it's come up, and even this past year that I've been here, people have asked me, is there a way that if they own 2 vehicles, and again, I understand the process that we have now, but even in the past where if they do have 2 vehicles and one is broken down or getting worked on, obviously they can't take that pass and put it in their other vehicle. And I guess that's upsetting to a lot of people, even if it's a husband-wife type thing and the 2 vehicles are registered in the same name. So I guess people were asking me at some point, could we look into altering the ordinance where maybe we make an exception where if there is somebody who registers 2 vehicles in that name in the same family, not 3, 4, or 5, but let's say it's 2, and they're registered in the same name, that pass could be good for both, not at the same time on the beach, only one of them can be on the beach, obviously. But if it's a case where a car is getting worked on and the other one has to go down, people have said this idea of going over and transferring it when it happens, and then have to transfer it back a second time and that sort of thing. So I don't know if that's open for discussion or not.
That's up to council.
Sure.
The thought that comes to my mind is if I have 2 vehicles and I take that pass and I get scanned on my first vehicle and I go down to the beach and then I hand that permit over to my
Sure.
friend and he goes back and gets my second car and comes down with another.
Well, and
5.
obviously, and there should be fines
that's
And let's keep in mind, the new system, they are going to adhere to the windshield.
Right.
So they're not going to be they're not really going to be removable.
Well, that's what I'm
to
saying, with
move
this new
back and
system, you
forth.
think if you have them and they're there and you issue 2, but if it's a scanner, it's going to know that one's already on there and the other one can't go down, something to that effect. I'm just trying to make the constituents happy. I know there's quite a few people. Yeah.
I think it's
As
opening
opposed
a
we
can-
have,
I
Problematic.
think it's opening
Yeah.
a Pandora's box.
I mean, we have local people that live here, and their complaint to me was, they got to buy 2 of them instead of, one,
to.
but they only want one vehicle on the beach anyway. It's just a matter of whether the one's down or the other one's down. It's not like they're trying to take advantage of getting multiple vehicles down there. And obviously, if somebody were to take advantage of a new process like that, that's what the fines are there, and you fine them, and people get up with the process really quick, and they won't take advantage of it. But I know quite a few people brought that to my attention with some of the other things we're doing with the free passes, so.
Okay, so at this point, we need a, Rick, did
Yeah,
you?
I just want to say one thing. The approach that we're talking about and the changes that we're discussing making, I think they're absolutely necessary. I support them entirely. The only thing I don't share in where Vince, I think, characterized the price of our four-wheel drive as being, not your word, expensive. I think it's a great bargain. I think people right now are getting tremendous value for the money they pay. Notwithstanding that, I'm okay with allowing a couple of free passes to go along with that. But definitely, we need to get beach tags required of everybody, because I think, Phil, you pointed out, there are swarms of walk-ons and ride-ons particularly on the weekends. And as Andy mentioned, working with the chief and the police department to address the continuing parking issues, whether that means, restricting more areas from parking. These things all need to be done, all good ideas, and I support them.
I think too, with the comments about being expensive, there's not everybody has a lot of money. And so, yeah, it's a great bargain, but at the same time too, for some people, that's their entertainment, that's what they spend it on, and that's what they can afford. I know a lot of people, they give it as gifts because they have family members buy it for them, because they can't afford it. So I think my concern is this, as we go through this transition period, and yeah, we're looking at one instance where we're trying to gain revenue for the city, but we're also trying to look at the services that we provide. Right now, people get a great bargain, and beach badges aren't being enforced down there. Now we're looking to enforce this, which is a major change for a lot of people, and I think we need to do everything we can, especially in this economic climate, to start to ease that change and ease that transition. We'll start to have better data at what we're looking at with the new scanner process, but it's a step in the right direction. But I think at the same time, too, we need to be mindful of what people are used for and the financial situation that a lot of people are in right now.
Okay, so can we have a voice resolution, a motion to provide 2 free beach passes with a four-wheel drive permit when they are purchased this year?
I'd like to make that motion.
For 2017?
2017, well, they're purchasing them now and into 2017.
Well, it's for the year
For the
of 2017,
2017
then
season.
we have to revisit it. And,
Yeah.
Get a second?
So I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Second.
Okay, so
Okay, could we have roll call, please?
View,
Yes.
McClay,
Yes.
Withers,
Yes.
DeLucre,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
Simpson,
yes.
Mayor Gunther,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, any other, anything else, Ed?
No, Mayor, that's all that I
Okay.
have.
I have one thing, if I can ask the city manager and the chief. On Lafayette and Caverly, we've been talking for quite a few years now. Can we get possibly, Ed talking with the chief and getting some kind of study there? Ever since that stop sign at Lafayette and West Shore Drive came down, they're going faster and faster there, and somebody's really going to get hurt one of these days. Maybe a four-way stop, maybe a speed hump, whatever, or whatever you want to call it, to legalize this thing, so we can get the traffic to slow down on West Shore Drive and Lafayette, or Lafayette and Caverly, wherever the chief and his people think we can do a four-way stop there to slow these people down.
Okay.
Thank you. Maybe even at Lafayette and West Shore, we can put that stop sign back up there to slow them down at that particular point, but it seems like once they turn off of Bayshore Avenue, it's like a raceway.
I hear complaints about that constantly.
And
That
hopefully get it done.
2-block,
Chief, we can
2 or
get
3
it done
block.
soonly.
Yes, sir.
It's big league.
Bigly, yes, soonly, I understood.
and I still stop at that stop sign that isn't there.
I see a lot of people do that.
I do, it's just like a habit.
I was wondering why you're waiting.
And I have a question about the streetscape. By the way, it's looking very good. And It's been a long time. I know we applied for that in 2013 for that grant. It's finally getting finished, and it looks great. Is there a location for electric charging station anywhere in that area? Was that part of the plan, or?
That was not part of the streetscape project.
Okay. And another thing, how many businesses paid the extra money to have their corners paved?
Almost all.
Almost all of them?
Almost all of them. Yeah, the ones that, well, the ones that you see, the concrete replaced right up to their storefront,
Yeah,
those businesses paid for that additional concrete.
that's great.
So it was a nice, there was a good buy-in from the businesses.
It tied in nice. Everything looks good.
Yes.
Even Ocean Beverage is doing their beds.
Doing their
It looks
beds.
really nice. And the
Yeah, it
other,
is. I'm sorry.
oh, no, go ahead.
No, it was
Same
in
topic?
Yeah, same topic. We had talked about the planting and the timing of putting the plants in, and
Bless you.
they are waiting till spring at this point. So
They're-
Ed,
they're-
if you want to discuss that a little bit?
That is correct. So, yes, the planting will occur in spring sometime towards the end of March, hopefully, well, again, weather permitting. We're working, John and I are working on LED uplighting, that we have the electric in now, so when the plantings occur, then Public Works will take care of the fixtures for the uplighting. And we hope and plan on having some sort of I don't know if it's a ribbon cut, and I don't know what you do with the streetscape, but we would look to do something, have that next opportunity when the landscaping is done, and kind of show off the project.
Great.
There are several businesses that have upgraded
That's right.
the outside of their building. Doug Keith has done a beautiful job. I just noticed that today. And down in front of Wally's and Astic and
I think so far
Andy
the
Grossman
project
all have
has
stuff
come out
out.
great,
Yeah.
and has the desired effect.
yeah, and they're all very happy.
And Ed, another thing I have is, what's the status? I know I sent you the balloon release ordinance. Was that being worked on by Ed?
It has not been worked on by Fred. I actually received a letter from, if you believe it, the Balloon Council of New Jersey.
Of course, I know.
So I haven't done anything with it.
I'm not surprised.
Yes, so I will, and actually.
I had a call from them as well, and you and I talked.
So
And
there's some.
they want to come down and talk, and we just haven't been able to schedule it. But the other thing is, and this is just to throw it out there, when's the last time we had a balloon release?
I don't know, but they do happen.
I mean, I
and,
don't remember any in Brigantine.
They do happen, and this would prohibit that
Right.
from happening.
And we had some discussion about the realtor, the balloons that are attached to realtor signs, and do we want to kind of roll that into, so I didn't move it forward when I wanted to follow up with the Balloon Council of New Jersey, but I
What are
just
they
haven't-
opposed to?
Any prohibition affecting the balloons. And they point out that it's the strings that tend to be the biggest problem. It took me by surprise,
Yeah.
I'll send it out to you.
So we'll schedule a meeting with them, as soon as we can. They've asked to come down for a meeting.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, at this time, I'm going to close the council manager committee discussion and open up for public comment. If anyone would like to address council, please step forward, use the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Yes, John?
John Pucci, 100 Sheridan Square. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Happy holidays and Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
The scheduled budget meeting for the department heads, I believe in prior years, sometimes that was held in this room and was open to the public. Is that continuing? I just didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
That is the case. It will be in this room at 1 PM, and it will be open to the public.
Thank you. On the discussion about the having all the policies together, when I was on the Hamilton Township School Board for 7 years, I always chaired the policy committee and was also involved in the 5-year revamping of the entire policies of the school district. May I suggest that possibly the school could be contacted and mirror and assist the city manager in the boilerplate in how to set up that policy book. They also have, could have people come down from New Jersey School Board Associations, meet with the school board, and then at the same time meet with somebody from the city and assist, Mayor, you know that, to help formulate the outline. It's
Right.
just my suggestion.
No, and I understand, John, the school board policies, as you know, flow from statute, and they are operational policies for the district, but something similar could be developed and may already exist. That's why League of Municipalities probably has something that could be a
Okay. It was just
similar to New Jersey school
Similar to
boards.
that, yes. But the main reason why I'm here tonight, Council, tonight I'm officially representing the Egg Harbor Base Submarine Organization. There's only 5 survivors left from the December 7th, 1941, the day that will live in infamy, Pearl Harbor attack. Everybody can go on the internet and see all that information and the ceremonies that were held on the USS Arizona today. But what I'm really here for tonight is to thank the City Council and the residents of Brigantine for supporting the veterans, all veterans. This council attends all the veterans organizations' fundraisers, the barbecues, the lobster fests, the pancake breakfasts, and the Army-Navy game at the Elks. You maintain the memorial plot for us. You all attend the Memorial Day services and Veterans Day services. You support the Polar Bear Plunge, which 100% of the proceeds go to the Fisher House. And this past year, you've provided totally free access to all veterans of this country to our beautiful beaches, and thus so have been declared a veterans-friendly community from all levels of government, from county government, from the state assembly, and we have received, the city has received a citation, a congressional citation stating that Brigantine is a veterans-friendly community. And I just want to thank you for that, for supporting the veterans of the United States of America.
Thank you. Thank you, John, and thank you for your service. Any other public comment? Yes, Mrs. Phillips.
Ann H. Phillips, 308 27th Street. 2 items, 2 questions. Why have the fire and police departments each increased by 2 officers from 32 to 34? That's the first question. The second is, what is council's goal for the year 2017 to decrease the municipal purpose tax rate?
I think we discussed our goal is to decrease the municipal purpose tax, and we discussed that. We provided the information at our meeting when our auditor came, and it looks like a very achievable goal for this year to hopefully be able to decrease the municipal tax again.
Well, do you have a particular number in mind?
Well, we haven't done the budget yet, so we'll.
No, I
obviously
appreciate
we'll-
that, but when
we
I
will-
use the word goal, that means that you're something that you would aim for. So do you have a particular number in mind in terms of a decrease in that tax rate?
I would be hesitant to give you an exact number right now. I can tell you that we're looking for a tax decrease. And hopefully, Mrs. Phillips, I don't want to say, because I know that you're someone who will come back and hold me to a specific number or statement. So I want to be very, very open about the fact, we're hoping to do the best we can, but it will be a decrease.
More than in the past 2 years, I hope.
Wow, Mrs. Phillips, most places are looking at tax increases, and we've had a 0 and a tax decrease, and obviously we're going to try and do more than we've done in the past, but perhaps it could be phrased differently and say that I appreciate the fact that council has worked hard to decrease taxes over the past 2 years, and perhaps you will try and do that in the future.
Well, it's just something that is, I think, on
But
everybody.
do you appreciate what's been done?
Do I appreciate? Yes, because there are levels of appreciation.
Well, thank you.
I think you're at a lower level, Phil.
We're looking for a
I'm
higher
not
level.
looking for a pat on the back, but what I'm getting at is this council has worked hard and will continue to work hard to decrease taxes.
Yes, okay, well, I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that the
We're
public
on it,
is
Mrs.
conscious.
Phillips. We had the auditor here to provide an update, so we had some parameters to work with going. Obviously, the manager is doing his piece right now, and there's a pretty short window for him to get that budget to council, which I'm confident you will be able to do, and then we'll know with the manager's budget where we will be at the first iteration of that, and let's see where it winds up at the end. But the goal is to decrease, yes.
Please return to the first question concerning the increase in the police and fire departments.
Ed, do you want to deal with the
Thank you.
staffing issue?
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mayor. Not specific to the number 32 to 34, but I'll talk about the 34 and how we come to 34. For the fire department, we have a chief and we have 4 platoons. We've determined, and it has been historically, 8 members to each platoon. There has been times where we had 3 platoons that I believe were staffed at 9 members, is my understanding. But we are at 8 members for each platoon, plus a chief, plus a fire official. That gives you the 34. In the police department, we have a chief and 2 captains. We have 4 squads at 7, and we have 3 in the detective bureau, one of which is the youth and chief. Thank you. So that's the number, the 30. That's how we come to 34. That staffing level. 32, where that was for the fire department, would be 2 platoons at 8 and 2 platoons at 7. We've had this discussion at council, and 8 is, and I think the chief, actually, Chief Widener, prior to Tiger, gave an explanation on how you come to the 8 members. So that's how we get to 34. In the past, there were greater than 34 in both of those departments. In the past, at times, there was also less when we had retirements that were not refilled.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Stinson. Any other public comment? Yes, Shirley.
Shirley Morgan, 4800 Harbor Beach Boulevard. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to see this council again. Is there another meeting in 2 weeks, or there
Yes.
isn't? There is.
Yes.
I wanted to thank everybody in council for everything they've done. I know that everyone does everything that they can possibly do for all the residents, whether we all agree or we don't agree. I thank you all for your service. I wish the new people coming in lots of good luck. I hope it's harmonious and that we can all work together. I know there's always the goal to work together. And I want to wish you all a healthy and a happy Christmas, New Year's, any holiday to you and your family. Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley.
Thank you. Same to you,
Thank you,
Shirley.
Yes, Frank.
And Shirley, thank you for all your volunteering time, too.
Frank and Jemmy, 605 West Shore Drive. I'd like to thank the council meeting. A few meetings ago, we started talking about banning the helium balloons. And I think the word got around, because Riker Realty, on the corner of West Shore and Lafayette, and right on West Shore where I am, or, no, yeah. They got for sale signs up for, I don't know, for open house. And they got these nice little red flags on the thing, ways, and it really looks nice. And I hope maybe everybody else will start listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Okay, any other public comment? Okay, see, now I'm going to close the public portion. Are there any council comments?
I'd just like to say the holiday decorations look really nice throughout the city and the lights, so thank you to the Public Works Department. I noticed going around the lighthouse today, the menorah is not up. Will that be going up soon?
It goes up right before Christmas. The synagogue sends us their specific dates of when they want it up, when they want it lit, and when they want it down.
Got it. Thank you.
Is on the 24th.
Great. Okay, could we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, once again, I want to thank everyone for coming to the meeting this evening, and